Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Ooh.
Let me just pull this up full screen and we should be good.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Sorry about the time differences and stuff.
Hey, don't apologize for natural occurrences. You can't be responsible for that.
Easier.
So let's start 2020. What a year, eh?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like, I had a good 2020, and I don't want to like invalidate other people's 2020 because I know that it was really bad for a lot of people, but I enjoyed my 2020. I thought mine was pretty good. I got a lot of stuff done, and yeah, so I made it work for me.
Yeah, I mean, you won Best International Male 2020 by Forever Synth.
Yeah, that was a surprise. I didn't think I'd be getting that because I didn't I don't know. I didn't think I had much to go for, considering that like how many massive synth wave releases came out this year, like the Midnight and Droid Bishop and everyone else. It was a massive surprise that I got that. So yeah, I was very chuffed, very humbled.
For me, you're my gateway drug into synth music. I've been introduced to
Really?
it by a few people through Twitch, but Yandor was particularly my go-to guy, and he played Jesse over and over and over. And I love that song. There's a lot
Oh,
more. There's a lot more on the album that I like now, but when it was a single out by itself is when he repeated it. He would play it with Primo stuff and stuff on his channel, and
yeah.
everybody there we just dug it. And I kept listening to it, and then when the album dropped, I was like, "This is tight, good
Oh, that's
stuff."
cool. Thanks. Yeah, like I think Breathy is my most streamed song on Spotify, and I owe a lot of that to Yandor because he was the guy who I don't know, he's got such a massive fan base, and I think he just plugged my music so much that everyone just loved Jesse, and I'm pretty sure it'll probably this year it's going to crack like over 100,000 plays, which is wild. So I reckon, yeah, it is my top most streamed song on Spotify, and I owe Yandor like for most of that because all of his fans love it, and I remember going into his Twitch streams or his Discord channel, and everyone's making memes about it, which is weird. So yeah,
Well, when it makes memes, that's when it gets traction and it gets popular.
yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, you're doing something right.
Yeah. I think it's good. I think it was like the first synthwave song that I released when I was just sort of getting into it, and yeah, people liked it. I remember, I think it got a few plugs on like the synth channels or the synth blogs like ages ago in 2018, and I think what's his name, Iron Skullet. It was like one of his top 10 songs of 2018, which is massive because it was my first synthwave song. So yeah, that's all kind of where it started. So
Where did it start for you musically, though? Like as far as taking up learning it, are you much of a
oh,
learner? Do you know music theory, or do you just play around with stuff until it sounds good? I mean, I'm a
that's,
messer, particularly. I just
yeah,
mess around
that's-
with stuff.
yeah. I do not know music theory. I remember in high school when I was doing music exams, I was just really bad at music theory. I just could not read music. I'm a little better now just because like I think I just taught myself a little bit more about it and how certain chords work together or how certain sounds work together. But for the most part, I'll just like play something and learn it that way. Same thing as like saxophone. Like I didn't teach myself sax. I did teach myself sax, but I didn't go to a saxophone teacher. I just used YouTube and looked up the charts and stuff like that. And for the notes that I needed to play live, yeah, same thing as synths. I didn't have a teacher for like piano. I just went onto YouTube and yeah, just taught myself stuff, which is good. I think 2020 everyone's learned how to do things online now, and teaching themselves new skills and all the rest of it, or like enhancing their own skills and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I've been pushing myself for conversation more because we don't have people to talk to around as much anymore. Sort of how the podcast took off. So,
Yeah.
as far as synthwave goes, can you define what it is?
Well, to me, synthwave is. I remember. I think I posted it on Twitter and asked like what synthwave meant to a lot of people, and I think the best one is synthwave is music for people who want to cosplay. If that they were in the 80s, and I think that sums it up. I think that's what it's like for a lot of people, because I mean, everyone wants to be the guy walking away from the explosion or driving the Ferrari down, the boulevard of Miami, or outrunning the cops on a motorcycle in LA. I think that we've all been hardwired to like that sound. Like a lot of the fans of synthwave love 80s music or love 80s movies like Arnold Schwarzenegger or anything with like Bruce Willis in it. Your Die Hards, your buddy cop films and stuff like that. And I think that's where it stems from. Even like it even go. I reckon movies is where it all comes from. Like what is it? Martial arts movies, like that stuff. Buddy cop films, action movie stars. Like synthwave music to me is it's music to help capture moments of I think moments of aesthetic, moments that can be summed up in like a movie scene. I think that's it. I don't think synthwave music could exist purely as an audio element. It's always got to have something that reminds people of a visual element. Yeah. So I think that's what synthwave is.
You'll never. Do you think some people say that it's a micro genre? Do you agree with that, or do you think that it's its own genre? Do you think it's got its own legs to stand on?
Well, if synthwave's the micro genre, I guess what they mean is like the genre above synthwave would be, I don't know, synth pop or something like that. I don't know. I think synthwave. I think it just goes in and out of its own genre into a micro genre. Because if you have a look at like what's charting at the moment, it's all heavily 80s music based. I think it can survive on its own legs as its own genre. And you look at all the artists out there who just do synthwave on its own. I also don't like. I don't know. I don't think I agree with the word micro genre. Like, wouldn't that just be a genre?
Yeah. Well, I feel like some people categorize like different categories of metal as like subcategories or subgenres of metal, like thrash and space rock metal or whatever, hair metal and stuff like that. They're all subcategories. Yeah.
Norwegian black. Yeah. And I mean, I think micro genres only really have a place when you're wanting to really give it a home. But I don't know. Sometimes that kind of like fuck things up for a lot of people when you push everything into a box and say, "Oh, this is space wave, this is chill wave, this is future funk, this is new disco." Like it's good to give that its own genre, but like once you start calling things micro genres or whatever, then they start, there's all this infighting that happens and all this like, bickering and stuff. I don't know. I think synthwave deserves to be its own genre, like every other genre. I don't think micro genres should be a thing.
So when you're approaching an album or a project or just a single or a song or whatever, are you approaching it as a song, or are you approaching it as like a piece of art that you're creating?
Oh, I mean, that's a pretty good question. I always I always have to have the song in mind because that's what people are going to listen to. Like the majority of people are going to listen to something that's going to be catchy, and it has to follow rules of songwriting. Like most of my songs, the chorus has to hit before the 1 minute mark. And if you have a look at like a lot of songs out there at the moment, that's the same rule because the majority of people are going to get bored. If the chorus doesn't hit within the 1 minute mark, majority of people are just going to skip it. So there's rules that you have to follow if you want your songs to be engaged with. But I mean, I'll on the other hand, I'll always approach songs as this is something that's super important to me, and I want to write these songs because they mean something to me and they make me feel good and they make me feel like dancing and they make me feel like singing along. Like I'll never approach a song to just be a song to get streams. Like every single thing that I'm going to release is something that I'm going to be proud of and something that I want people to appreciate. Like, for example, a few years ago, a guy I know, like another musician, asked if I wanted to join his like music hit machine factory thing. And I said no because that's something that's never going to be appealing to me. Writing multiple songs a day just so big time labels can be like, yeah, cool, we'll get this massive pop star to sing on that. That's great, thank you very much, because that kind of takes the art of it out of it. That's just making songs purely for streaming or making songs purely for the algorithm and stuff. And like we're going down that path like more and more every day. So I don't know. That's not for me. If people want to go do that, that's fine. But I don't know. I probably wouldn't.
Refreshing to hear, especially from like a upcoming artist getting awards such as Best Synthwave Artist 2020. So it's refreshing to hear something like that coming from a decent and respected artist, as far as I'm concerned.
Cheers.
What are some of your major influences? Okay. What kind of name some?
So yeah, I mean, like music that I always loved is I listen to everything, and I know that's like such a throwaway line, but I'm more than happy to listen to all types of music, and I have different like kind of like musical seasons where like I'll just listen to a bunch of one genre. Like I used to listen to like black metal for a bit. Like I was really into like Burzum for a little while there, and then I'll like go and do something completely different. I'll listen to like just a bunch of top 40 music, or I'll go do 70s progressive rock like Yes and stuff like that. But I think the artists that really stick with me in terms of songwriting, aesthetically being like a package, and production wise, is Genesis, Phil Collins. I definitely say like David Bowie. Something on the album is like 80s Australiana, so like 80s Australian music, like Icehouse, Men at Work, the Vinyls, a lot of like British synth pop music as well, like Eurythmics, New Order, stuff like that. I could absolutely list all these artists that I listen to, but I think the main ones that like influenced Calypso Drip FM, it was definitely Phil Collins. What else? I think Phil Collins is like the big one.
Yeah.
I listened to a bunch of Phil Collins when I was trying to get my vocals recorded and mixed. So yeah, I definitely say Phil Collins was a big one. Phil Collins and Genesis.
I was playing a bit of New Religion while we were waiting for you because I went live a little prematurely, so I was just showing off your Bandcamp and played a little bit of New Religion, and we got from the chat that it sounded very Phil Collinsy, and I said we'll go over that a little bit with him. So
yeah, I'm a freak for Phil Collins. Hey, like ridiculous.
Hey, some of the names you were listing off, though, some of the greats that I listened to growing up and stuff. So it's no wonder I like your music, So We're gonna step back a little bit and just look at music as a whole. What is music to you, and why is it important for you to make music?
Okay. Um, I think as a human being, uh, music is something that's so integral to, I guess, what we consider as like our soul or our, what really drives us to have our own humanity and community. So I think that the reason I make music is because I feel music is super important to what I consider to be having a sense of community and being a human being. So when I write my own music, I always have it in mind that people are going to be out there listening to it and experiencing and living their lives, maybe whilst listening to my music and enhancing that somewhat. So that could be anything from, like, I've had some of my favorite artists tell me that they've listened to my music, and the fact that my music is coming through the same monitors in their studio that they've recorded their songs that I love, like that, that's good to me. That gives me good vibrations. And then even like someone who lives across the world saying that they listen to my music when they catch the bus to work every day. Um, that's why I write music, because it shows me that people are listening to something that enhances their everyday lives and makes them feel a different way, or um, just accompanies them. Like, I think that's super important. I think that's like ever since we were like cavemen, or all these different cultures, ancient cultures around the world, like we all listen to music to enhance us or to tell stories and stuff. Like, it's weird, when I hear someone say, "Oh, I don't like music," I honestly think they're saying it because they like music. They just haven't found the music that they like.
Yeah, I think
I've
some
only met
people don't explore music in the way that other people explore music. Like I've been told that you can listen to a song, and I mean, I know this for a fact, but I've been told, you listen to a song and you listen to it once, you listen to it twice, you've heard it, but you haven't heard it. You haven't listened to it for everything that it is.
Yeah, exactly right. Like, I think that's a good point. Like, when someone shows me a piece of music, like, if I listen to it, I'll have to listen to it twice, because you listen to it once and you kind of like get the gist of it, and then you listen to it again and you try and like pick something different or hear something that you haven't really picked up on before. Like, you have to experience it more than once.
Right.
Um, it's like a piece of art. Like, is that a real Alex? What's his name? Alex Gray
Yes,
print?
it's a real Alex Gray tapestry. Yes, it is. I'm
Okay,
glad that it
cool.
caught
So
your
like,
attention just randomly, but it threw off the interview, so I'm sorry about that.
that's cool, because I saw it when the video popped up. So like, imagine if you showed like someone Tool, like a Tool song, and you get like, and they only heard it once,
Okay.
and they were like, "Oh, cool, thank you," and you're like, "No, no, you don't get it. You need to listen to it again." Like,
Right.
like playing it once isn't gonna show someone what that song has to say. So yeah, I totally agree with you. I think people, I don't know. I think it's, we live in a society where people, their consumption attention spans are so short. Everyone wants to get every bit of entertainment within like 15 seconds, and then they want to move on. Um, I think, I don't know what the solution is for that, but I think people need to explore more music and more media, and just sit down and be patient with it, and maybe they'll find something they'll like. But I agree with you. I think, yeah, people just need to explore more music.
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely think of it as art for sure because since I was younger, I've always picked apart music, and if you don't mind, I'm gonna pick apart Jesse with you in a second. But
I'd
uh,
love to talk about production and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, we'll go into that. I think that like when you're approaching something like a song, it's just as much a piece of art as a painting is, because you've got to work out every aspect of it and know what you're doing with it and know where you're going with it. And if you've got, sometimes there's like an idea for a story in mind, but sometimes it just goes wherever it goes, right?
Yeah.
But it becomes its own piece of art, and I think that every day can be like that for anybody. So your music, especially for me, as I've been listening to it, you know, just helps me to see that I maybe have something, a better way to look at something that I'm taking for granted or something like that, because I might be, maybe I didn't hear it the first time, you know?
Yeah.
Because I've listened to Jesse over and over again, and this is where we're going to start picking it apart. Now,
Okay.
do you have your own meaning to that song? Because, I mean, songs usually have their own particular meanings to each and every person, but you're the songwriter for this. Do you have your
Yeah.
own meaning for this song?
Yeah. So I remember watching, I think it was San Junipero, which is an episode of Black Mirror. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
Yeah, I've seen Black Mirror, yeah.
Yeah. So you know the episode San Junipero where it's like the person's consciousness can be uploaded into the drive and they can live somewhere forever and stuff like that. So to me, like that episode, I had no idea about that episode at all. And when I watched that episode, I was like, this is such a good piece of TV. You know, it's so well written and like the music in it's fantastic. And it was when I was just about to get into synthwave, so it really like opened up all these like doors for what the idea of synthwave is, and it's got like that cyberpunk sensibility to it, where it's about, you know, where does the soul lie, you know, transhumanism and all these cool elements without it being too cyberpunkish, you know, Neo in the Matrix sort of thing. And yeah, so when I was writing Jesse, I was playing around with all these like lyrics and stuff, and I knew that I wanted to have the chorus was like the first bit I wrote. And I was like, cool, why don't you come back home? And I thought, where can I go with this song? Excuse me. And when I watched San Junipero, I really liked the idea of the transhumanism and saying, oh, what if the person is like needing to be uploaded into like this server where they can live the life that they want to live? And that's what the whole song's about, basically. So it's this guy and this girl. The guy's helping this girl be uploaded into this server against her parents' wishes, and that's what the song's about. Even though it's like not explicitly, like the lyrics aren't about it that way, but there's like little hints in the lyrics. Like there's,
well, see, what I was going to get to is that from what I got from the song, because it starts with like sort of a faint dolphin in the distance, and you talk about you were looking in another ocean, right?
yeah,
So I kind of got the dolphin reference, but
yeah.
the whole idea of like needing to upload consciousness or whatever definitely came to me through the lyrics. Where is it? Hold on, I'm searching through my head here. Um, you, you're better at this than I am. The specific lyric is something like, what is it?
What is it? Is it 1,000 choices on that drive?
It might have been something. Yeah. Okay. I'd have to. I just listened to it before we went live. I was listening to it outside, but then I usually draw like right up. I could sing the song without the music behind it, just jam it, whatever. But
I'll send you the lyrics by the way, and a little. So because I'm interested. I want to see what how you interpreted it as well, because I like to hear it, because like other people have told me like, oh, it sounds like a love song and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, it's kind of like a love song. It's got that 80s like let's run away and start a whole new life together sort of thing. But
yeah,
it's yeah.
Now I'm going to be searching my head for it the whole night, going, what was that fucking part that I was thinking of? But when you were shooting, I showed the Hotline video before I started here, but when you were shooting the Hotline video, how was that experience? Was that your first video that you shot, or you shot one before that, right?
Yeah, yes. So like I've shot a few really low budget ones, just to accompany like the music and stuff like that. But Hotline was I wanted something for Halloween, and I knew that a bunch of my like synthwave friends had all these like Halloween releases coming out. And yeah, I thought to myself, oh, it'd be really cool if I did like a Hotline Miami music video for Hotline. So we went to this place in Queensland, Australia, called the Gold Coast, which is kind of like the Miami of Australia.
Yeah.
Um, and we like rented out this really cool retro motel room, which overlooked like this glowing blue pool with all these palm trees, and it was just very, very Miami. And yeah, and we just filmed it all in this like little place, and then we went out and like found all these neon signs elsewhere, and
Yeah, I
yeah,
was gonna say I like the hotel. I was actually gonna come in and I was gonna start the stream like this with the hammer up, just for the sake of the video. But I forgot because I was all panicky about the everything going wrong, as I
yeah.
always am. But let's talk about the other video that's coming out later this month. Waiting up.
We might be dropping it February actually, because it's gonna accompany a remix album, and there's some pretty cool artists on the remix album, so pretty happy with that.
Oh, that's good though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited for that though because I keep seeing you tease it on your socials, and I'm looking forward to that. Did you have anything to do with that shoot, or was it mostly shot elsewhere?
It was filmed in Tokyo,
Yeah.
in Japan, and because I was planning on doing a music video.
Uh-oh. You back? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm back. I'm back. Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
What was the last thing that we were talking about?
Waiting up. It was shot mostly in Japan, you said? Tokyo.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Tokyo, Japan, and because we couldn't film in Australia because of COVID, so I asked this guy in Japan. I was like, "Oh, if you would you be keen in doing like a two-person shoot, like minimal crew, um, socially distant, out in Tokyo?"
Mhm.
And yeah, we ended up figuring out a way to sort of do it, and we just had was one dancer, one cameraman, and that was it. And yeah, it's very, very cool. The whole video is like I'm pretty sure she ad libbed the whole choreography, and it just looks really, really good.
Yeah,
Um,
what you've teased of it looks really good. I'm excited to see it. So I'm excited for
yeah,
that remix album too. Can't
yeah.
wait for it.
Who's on there? There's it's cool because like I've got a few synthwave guys, but I also got some future funk new disco artists on there, so it should be good. It should be good.
Looking forward to it.
Mm.
Calypso Drip FM is like a radio station of an album.
Yeah, yeah.
How did you come up with that concept?
Um, Probably because I constantly listen to Flash FM from GTA Vice City. I remember I used to have Flash FM, like the whole thing, the whole like songs, radio skits, like as an MP3 file on my MP3 player when I was like in high school, and then a couple of my like one of my friends has Flash FM burnt to a CD in his car, and I don't know, like when I played GTA Vice City, like I don't know what it was, like the colors, like the aesthetics, the music. It's just as soon as I played that game, musically, my mind just was opened up to all these new different songs. And you have to remember, back then the internet wasn't a thing. Like we had LimeWire that we could download one song and it took like an hour. Um, and we didn't have music blogs, and we didn't have like artist playlists to be exposed to. All of your music was like whatever you heard on the radio or whatever your parents showed you.
Mm-hmm.
So when I played GTA Vice City, it was like being given like this whole crate of vinyl records while I played the game. And it's like, you know, it sounds a bit silly, but I think like GTA Vice City musically was such a like important point in like my musical awakening, because it was this cured playlist just handed to me while I play and brainwashing me while I like, shoot hookers and drive cars on beaches and stuff. So yeah, that's why I did Calypso Drip FM, because I looked around and tried to find if any other people were doing the same thing in the scene, and I didn't find anyone who was really doing an album like that. And I had a few songs which they went together really well. But when I had the idea of making it like a radio station, like having a day side and then a night side, that's when the songs really gelled together, and I added a few more to sort of transition them in. I asked Cara and Zoe Lee from Night Ride FM to do all the voices for the radio station host, and that worked really well. It all just like fit together, and then having the artwork done by Yoko Honda, like it's just so good. It looks like it's straight from the 80s. So
yeah, that I love the aesthetic of that album cover.
It's so good, so good. Yeah.
You do some of your own artwork though that you post on like Instagram and stuff.
Yeah. I'm just starting to get into it, like just doing things for friends and doing like little things at the moment. So, but yeah, I've always wanted to sort of like get into art. I always focus on music, but I prefer to get into artwork and stuff like that. And I think there's like so many good artists out there, especially in the synthwave scene. Like, I can't remember his name, but one of his artwork pieces just got licensed by David Guetta and Sia.
Yeah. I don't think I know.
So yeah. So that's huge. Like, if you have a look at like David Guetta's like release that I think it just got released last year or the end of last year,
okay.
It has like a piece of synthwave art for it, and that's massive. Like, to have someone have a synthwave like art piece for David Guetta, it's just crazy. But yeah, there's a lot of really, really good artists in the scene. Like, there's Signal Noise, which is really good. Chrome and Lightning do really great stuff. And there's heaps of others. So
yeah, I've been looking into a lot of like psychedelic art and stuff like that. And your stuff is really sort of retro synthy inspired and stuff. Most of it's digital artwork, yeah.
Yeah. I'm too scared to do anything physical at the moment, so I don't think I'd do very, very good physical artwork. But maybe later, maybe I'll do like a painting or something. But yeah, right now it's all just digital, just on like the iPad on Procreate.
I'm a little bit opposite actually, because when it comes to digital stuff, I have the opinion of my stuff is kind of like messy. So I try to stay away from that. But when I'm painting, it's like it's okay to be messy. I was kind of taught that when I was growing up. It's okay if you're painting, you can be messy as long as you clean it up afterward. You don't make a mess.
Yeah.
So I just put down like a little plaque on the carpet, and I make sure I don't make a mess. And as long as I don't make a mess, I don't have to clean nothing up.
Yeah. Okay. Is that one of your paintings at the back?
Well, right now there's nothing up there. This is one of my paintings right here.
Oh, that's cool.
I did a digital sort of thing, kind of like this last month, and I started this last month as well, but I hadn't finished it yet. So, but thank you. I enjoy doing painting, but I'm kind of envious of people who can do digital work the way that you can.
Oh, thanks, man. Like I definitely haven't found like my footing, or found something I really like or I'm really good at, or all the rest of it. I've still got to sort of like balance and juggle music and everything else. But thanks, man. Like I definitely want to get into it more this year. So
I just gave you a shout out in my chat, but why don't you tell everybody where they can find you? And
Cool. So you can find me on Bandcamp if you prefer to stream my music and buy my music off Bandcamp. There's still vinyls and cassettes if you're into that. Otherwise, I'm on Spotify and Apple Music if you like. And I'm also on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm more like engaging on Twitter. I find Facebook, the algorithm is just a little bit dodgy. So like sometimes I don't get as much engagement on Facebook, but Twitter, well, much better than Facebook. And then Instagram if you want to see something like more of my art as well as my music. So yeah.
Thanks a lot for joining me, Gryff. I'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah, it's really good. All right, thank you. See you later, guys.
Thanks a lot. See you around. Take it easy.